Live.
Hey, everybody. Welcome, welcome. We are live here. We have Daniel Horine, owner and artist of Popfly Pop Shop. And, of course, Hall of Famer Rollie Fingers, 7-time All-Star, AL MVP, and Cy Young, by the way, the same season. World Series MVP, one of only a few players to have his jersey retired on 2 teams. First, what I'm calling a modern dynasty with a three-peat. Mr. Rollie Fingers, thank you for spending some time with us.
Thank you. My pleasure. Nice to see you.
So when Daniel contacts you, Rollie Fingers, and says, I would like to articulate you as a comic book style cover, what is your reaction?
Make me look as young as I can. Build up the muscles and the shoulders and the arms and all that good stuff.
And then when you saw how he described you, what was your immediate reaction?
Looked good. Mustache was nice and dark and full. Had a nice facial features. Everything. I looked like I was like 29 years old. So that's good.
In fact, Daniel, if you could go ahead and throw it up. And if you're new here, maybe you're a Rollie Fingers fan. This is called Popfly Pop Shop, and these are available for 1 week only. And so if you want to buy one of these prints, it's not a comic book, but it's a comic book style cover. It's only available until this Sunday, and then it's retired forever. You can go to popflypopshop.com and get one of these. And for another fee, you can get the Hall of Famer Rollie Fingers to autograph it himself, and it will be mailed to you. So, Daniel, what led you to do Rollie Fingers? And let's talk about the cover a little bit.
Sure. When I started this project, a Rollie Fingers piece was just in my head for the entire time. It's just not only did he dominate the game, there was such an iconic just presence as well, and that translates really well to the really expressive medium of comics. And so I just had it in mind to do that piece. I actually had it drawn in my head, I would say, for months. I knew exactly how I wanted to do it. I knew how I wanted to frame it, nice and close, and just featuring this iconic player, and just eventually it got to executing it, and really glad to do it.
And by the way, go ahead and submit your questions in, and the first question you guys submit that Daniel asks at the end, you'll get a free copy signed by Rollie Fingers. So put your questions in. Mr. Fingers, if you were a comic book cover like this, would you be a hero or a villain?
Oh, I'd have to be a villain.
I knew it.
For this mustache, you're kidding me?
Go ahead and show the cover again. You look like this 1800s silent film tying a dame up on a train track kind of villain.
That's me. I think I'd play the villain a lot more than the hero.
I know you sent a lot of sad fans to sleep as a dominant closer, and we'll get into that. Daniel, you mentioned the Wolverine number 1 was some of the inspiration. Go ahead and share the connection there. Sure,
there we go.
Oh,
yeah. So, when I was envisioning the piece for you, Rollie, this cover came to mind. It's from 1982, and it's not what you would expect as a typical cover. You usually have your hero in action, but this is the first time we see this character in his own comics series, and it zigged when you'd expect a zag. And you've got this close up of this character, and you've got him. His attitude is there, and what makes him dangerous is there. It's like this would be such a great way to kind of depict Rollie Fingers.
Well, that's cool. That's cool. I like that.
Thanks.
Daniel, on the cover of Rollie Fingers, if you could bring up the Kingpin quote you have at the bottom and share that. And Rollie Fingers, I want to know, is this urban fiction or did this really happen? Because you can't believe everything you read out there.
Well, what was it?
The Mustache gang. Can you share that, Daniel? And let's have Rollie Fingers confirm or better nuance what happened.
Yeah, at the bottom there it says Kingpin of the Mustache Gang. So was there really a mustache gang?
Oh yeah, we initiated all the mustaches in 1972 at spring training. There was no mustaches in the big leagues. It was kind of taboo, and Reggie came to spring training with a mustache and wouldn't shave it off. And so all the guys got on him, and he wouldn't shave it off. So finally, me and Catfish Hunter, Daryl Knowles, Bob Locker, about 4 or 5 pitchers, we decided we're going to grow mustaches. And we figured if we grow mustaches, Dick Williams is going to say, our manager is going to say, okay, cut them off. And then Reggie would have to cut his off. But Charlie Finley got wind of what was going on, and he sent a memo down to the clubhouse about halfway through spring training and said, whoever makes the ball club on opening day and you have a mustache, you get $300. So the only reason why I grew this mustache was to get $300 out of Charlie Finley. And we were the only team in the big leagues that had mustaches. And everybody had a mustache on opening day. Charlie came down in the clubhouse, had 30 checks for $300. Wow. 25 players, 4 coaches, and a manager. Everybody got a check for $300. And then we started winning in 72. And ball players were the most superstitious animals in the world. And so we kept them. And then we won the World Series in 72, 73, 74. So after 3 straight world championships, I'm stuck with this thing now. And I haven't had it off since. But yeah, we started it all.
Yeah, I had heard in the research that there was a 37-year period where there was no facial hair on any Major League Baseball player. And so it was probably very shocking for fans to show up in 72 to see this. It was just something that people did not do for decades.
Oh, no, we packed houses on the road. Everybody wanted to come out and see the crazies from Oakland. I mean, we had long hair and mustaches and white shoes and colorful uniforms, and we were getting in fights with everybody. I mean, we packed houses on the road, so it was good for baseball at the time.
Nice. Obviously, we're here with Rollie Fingers. If you want to buy one of these covers, again, it's only available until Sunday, popflypopshop.com. I highly recommend getting the Hall of Famer autograph because those are hard to get. Now, Mr. Fingers, my worst nightmare as a huge baseball fan is hearing my team tell me in the spring, we're going to go closer by committee. That to me is just like the worst news you can get. But it wasn't always that way. Before you, if you were a great pitcher, you're a starting pitcher, right? And we leave the scrubs at the end of the game. And you're the guy where that philosophy changed that said, those last couple outs are really important. So let's take one of our best pitchers and put them at the back of the game. Did you buy into that like right away? Did it take some time?
It didn't take me time because I was horrible as a starter and I was on my way to the minor leagues. So we had one game in New York where we were getting beat like 11-3. And all of a sudden it's 13-11, and I'm the only guy left in the bullpen. I was demoted out of the starting rotation. I was a scrub in the bullpen, and I came in and pitched 2 shutout innings. I mean, he had to use me. It was me or the pitching coach. So he brought me in, and I pitched 2 shutout innings, got a save. And then the next night he brought me in again. Dick Williams did, and I had another save. And he called me into his office after that game and said, from now on, from the 7th inning on, I want you to be ready. I'm going to go to you. I said, okay, that's fine with me, because I was on my way to the minor leagues. And back then, you really didn't want to be in the bullpen. That was there was no money down there. Most of the starting staffs in the big leagues were complete in 45, 50, 60 ball games a year. Relief pitchers just weren't heard of. And so they started realizing probably in the early 70s that you need somebody down in the bullpen there to get those final 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 outs, whatever. So, Goose Gossage, Sparky Lyle, Kent DeCulvey, Dan Quisenberry. I mean, you can go on and on. All the guys started right around the same time that I did. Clay Carroll, Dave Justy. Every team had one guy down there that could get those last. I mean, the hardest out in baseball is the last one. Trust me. You need to have somebody down there to get it.
Well, yeah, the other team's emptying their bullets, right? They're pinch hitters, they're pinch runners. I would assume you take a lot of pride in, like, you changed the philosophy of baseball with that.
Well, I think the owners started realizing that, a lot of ball games are decided in the 8th and 9th inning. So you better have somebody down there that knows what they're doing. And so most ball clubs started going through their minor leagues and trying to find guys that could do that. And I just happened to be in the right place at the right time. And, I had pretty good control. I threw the ball pretty good velocity-wise. I was right around 93, maybe 94 on my best day. but I can throw strikes. And as a closer, that's what you need to do. You have to have somebody down there that knows where they're throwing the ball and has good control. Don't walk guys. And I just fell into it. I had the type of arm where I could go out and throw every day. I could pitch. I think there was a couple times I pitched 6-7 games in a row, and my arm could handle it, and I didn't mind doing it. And I was getting guys out, and we were winning. So I helped the ball club.
Well, you mentioned that the money has now trickled down to the bullpen, where owners are now paying their closers, but the Hall of Fame has been a little slow catching up. I mean, you're in obviously, but guys like Billy Wagner and John Franco, and are you defensive over them? Like they're part of your...
No, I think Billy Wagner should certainly be in there. I mean, he was nasty, a nasty left-hander, threw hard, wasn't real big, but strikeout pitcher. I mean, he was dominating, and I think he had over 400 saves, something like that. But then there's John Franco, another good left-hand relief pitcher. I think certainly is deserving. So I think those two guys may get in sooner or later. But definitely good. Those two guys are high on my list.
Daniel, you've done a couple of bullpen guys. Is that a connection to you? Are you attracted to the bullpen guys?
I think so. And I didn't realize that until I really started digging into this project. So I've done a Kent DeColve print. I've done
Rabowski.
Al Rabowski. There's such a, I don't know what it is about the bullpen, but there's just very interesting It's full of interesting characters.
We're a different breed. I mean, first of all, you got to be crazy to want to come in the ball game with bases loaded. So you got to be nuts. So most of the guys that I know that were closers are a little crazy.
Now, I don't want to hear about how good a closer is if they haven't done it in the World Series. So you and Mariano Rivera, you're both 1 and 2 on my list. Your World Series ERA is 1.35. What's it like being in the World Series in that 9th inning, knowing you got the city on your back, the left fielder on your back?
If you start thinking about what it means when you're out there, if you don't want to let the whole city down, you don't want to let all 24 ball players down, their families, and if you start thinking about that, you're not going to get through it. So I just did one pitch at a time and tried to just pretend that it was just another game. And, I think there was more pressure on the hitters facing me than it was for me facing them. I think if over the years, if you're successful and you've shown that you've been able to do the job, their hands are full with guys like Gossage and Mariano and Trevor Hoffman, these relief pitchers have been successful. So I think there's more pressure on the hitter, and that's the way I looked at it. Wow. I tried to be a perfectionist, but I wasn't all the time, but I tried to be.
Wow. Hey, Daniel, if you could show that print again. These are on popflypopshot.com. Get your Hall of Famer Rollie Fingers print, only available until Sunday. Get the autograph, get that Hall of Fame autograph on your beautiful cover. Here's a question for you. You had some power. You were in the AL before the DH started. You had 2 bombs, which for a relief pitcher is pretty crazy. And then the DH came in. Did you enjoy hitting?
Oh, well, I signed as an outfielder in 1964. So I went to spring training as an outfielder and a pitcher. When I wasn't playing outfield, I was pitching. So somebody at spring training realized I wasn't going to be a very good hitter, I guess, and I was going to be a better pitcher. So yeah, I enjoyed hitting. I loved hitting. I got a base hit in the World Series. Yeah, I had 2 home runs. In fact, when one of them was in Milwaukee, I pitched a shutout and hit a home run. And wow. And then the only thing is they tore down both ballparks because I can't show anybody now where I hit my home run. So, but I enjoyed those 2. Yes.
There was a weird stat for you, Rollie Fingers. In 1975, you have a pinch hit appearance, which is after the DH. Do you recall what the heck happened that game in the AL where you got a pinch hit appearance?
You know what? I don't even remember having a pinch hit appearance. That was a new one on me. I would have to look and see that one. If I did, I don't think I got a hit. I don't know.
Some manager screwed up that game, I think. Yeah.
I know one game. I think one of my managers took me out and put me in left field because there was a at the plate he didn't want me to face, so he put me in left field for one guy and then brought me back in. But,
okay.
And pinch hitting me with guys on the bench. I don't know if they would have liked that very much. So We ran out of guys or extra inning game.
Do you have an opinion on the NL? The rumor is they're taking the DH or adding the DH next year. Do you have an opinion on that?
Well, it's going to make it a little bit tougher on the pitchers, that's for sure. But it's worked so far in the American League. I'm surprised that they haven't adopted it as up until now. It seems like it works. It's a little tougher managing when you're in the National League without the DH because you got to move your pitchers around. But with the DH, it makes it a little easier to manage. And so, but I think it's a good idea.
We're here again with Rollie Fingers and Daniel. Daniel, could you show your cover again? And kind of a new one this time is the quote bubble. That's written by you, not by Rollie Fingers.
Yeah, it is.
Can you share some inspiration for that?
You know, as this was clanking around in my head, you know, there's an essence here that I was trying to capture. You know, like the Wolverine cover. I'll show it real quick. This was sort of my motivation for the piece with Rollie Fingers. There's an attitude here, you know, and there is an attitude here that I wanted to capture too, and kind of how you alluded to, Rollie. You know, that you see yourself as a villain, you know, and a lot of what comics are is there's a even though you might have bad guys, there's a levity all throughout. If you think about the dialogue in the Batman TV show, you know, it's very, very, you know, just goofy, you know, bad guy or not. And so, you know, I thought, you know, maybe I can include this little saying or something like that. So and I had worked on it for quite a while. It's the only poem I've written in the last like 2 decades, but it says, first come the strikes, then come the zingers. Hey, batter, you've been touched by the fingers. So it seemed like just a very like appropriate kind of villainesque twist that just matched the persona here. That when I envisioned Rollie Fingers as a character. So
good one. I like.
I stuck it on there. Even the little speech bubble has like a little twist to it, like as if it's like a curl of a mustache. So yeah, it was just a fun.
The hands on the handlebar mustache too. That's cool. I like that.
Yeah, thank you. And I want to make sure that I had your right hand on there too. That's your right-handed picture. Same thing as a Wolverine cover. You know, he had what made him dangerous right in the frame. Those claws. And so same thing here. What made you dangerous is that right hand of yours. So I want to make sure that was featured here as well.
No, I think you did a great job on me. I mean, you make me look young. So.
Did you collect comics as a kid?
I used to read when I was younger. I think I had a few Superman comic books, but those are long gone. But I collected baseball cards back in the mid to late 50s and early 60s. I collected baseball cards, but didn't get too much into comic books. But I do remember some Superman comic books that I had. But I don't know where they're at now. I wish I had them right now.
Yeah,
they might be worth something.
Yep, for sure.
We're here live with Daniel and Rollie Fingers. Go ahead and go to popflypopshop.com, buy your print, get it autographed. Do you have a moment, Rollie Fingers? Can you speak about, you had very strange tenure on the Red Sox and the Cardinals. Can you share some memories from that?
Golly, Charlie Finley got rid of me and Joe Rudy and Vita Blue in a cash deal in 1976. Joe Rudy and I went to the Red Sox. And Boston had just come into town, into Oakland. And so I got to the ballpark, and the clubhouse guy said, "Hey, you've just been sold to the Red Sox." I says, "You're kidding." He says, "No." So I picked up all my stuff out of my locker, went across the hall into the other clubhouse, and I'm now a Boston Red Sox. And I was there for 3 days. I was lockering next to Rico Petrocelli, and he'd hit a home run off me about 2 weeks before that when we were in Boston. So they were there for the series, and we didn't. Joe and I didn't get into a game. I warmed up one time, but I didn't get in. And then 3 days after the deal, Bowie Kuhn nixed it and said, "Charlie Finley, you had to give the $1 million. He paid $1 million for me. Yawkey did for me and Joe Rudy each." So we had to go back to the Oakland A's. So at the end of the series, we picked up our stuff out of the locker, went back over to the A's locker. So I was only there 3 days. But it was a great 3 days. I enjoyed it. I just wanted to Charlie Finley. You have no idea.
Wow.
got away from him. But then we sat on the bench and we didn't play for 2 weeks because Charlie thought he was right and Bowie Kuhn was wrong. So we basically played with 22 guys for 2 weeks, and we ended up losing the division that year by a game and a half, I think. So
wow, because of pride. Wow.
It was nice being a Red Sox for 3 days, and then the same thing happened with St. Louis. I got traded to St. Louis and went to the winter meetings and saw Whitey Herzog, and he congratulated me, welcomed me to the Cardinals, and I flew back home after the winter meetings, picked up the newspaper, and I just got traded to Milwaukee. I didn't even know. That's how I found out about it. Was in the newspaper. So because he had myself and Bruce Sutter at the same time, and he didn't know which one to keep. So he decided to trade me and Ted Simmons and Pete Vukovich to the Milwaukee Brewers. But I was happy about that. I was going to a good ball club. Milwaukee had a great team.
Now, you mentioned you were a baseball card fan. Do you know, were there baseball cards made for you, like on the Red Sox and Cardinals, or?
No, I wasn't there that long.
Wow.
Somebody took a picture of me in a Red Sox magazine, or Red Sox uniform, and I've had people send me them to autograph, but it's me at the Oakland A's ballpark in a Red Sox uniform. But that's the only picture that I've seen of me in Red Sox uniform. I didn't even put on the Cardinal uniform.
Wow. Yeah, I had no idea. And then as I read about you, I was like, he's on the Cardinals? What?
Yeah, for 3 days.
We're here for a couple more minutes with Rollie Fingers and Daniel. Last second to get a question in, and Daniel will pick out his favorite one, and you will get a nice bonus prize with that. Beards are in right now. Do you have a favorite beard in baseball?
We didn't have too many beards. The only beard that anybody really had when I was playing was Reggie. Reggie had a beard. It wasn't really long, but you know, I'm not too much into the long beards. Looks too much like Duck Dynasty. And I don't know how these guys can play with these beards, although they're a foot long down. I don't know how they do it. But I'm not a big beard person. The mustache is okay, but I'm not a big beard person.
John Axford, does he have a respectable mustache?
Who's this?
John Axford, any modern day players that you respect the mustache game?
I really don't watch a whole lot of baseball. I couldn't tell you. I mean, I couldn't recognize them if they walked right by me in the streets with the beards on. I got no clue. But you know, if some of these guys like them, and if they, you know, if they play ball well with them and they're lucky with them, keep them. We're superstitious for sure.
All right, Daniel, can you find some questions to ask from your fans?
I do. I have a question here, but first, I'd like to ask you a question, Mr. Fingers.
Yep.
So, the mustache. So I know there's the superstition aspect of it. Yes, you know, you have this thing that makes you win, so you keep doing that thing. But was there an element of did it change the way you felt about yourself or your presence that kind of helped you or aided you as a pitcher to kind of, I don't want to say hide behind, but kind of enhanced what you brought to the mound? Well,
it was different because when we started growing the mustache, I was the only guy who started growing. I just did a handlebar just for the heck of it to see what I didn't know idea what it was going to look like, and you know, I always liked barbershop quartets who got mustache. So what the heck? So I started growing a handlebar mustache, and I started getting guys out. And so I kept it long, and I said, hey, you think I told my guys on my team, you think I ought to cut this off? I said, no, keep it. It looks good. So, you know, that's the only reason why I kept the handlebar. No one else decided to grow a handlebar. A couple of guys grew some goatees and long sideburns and tops and that kind of stuff. But I'm the only guy that really had a handlebar mustache in the big leagues. I mean, even after we started, other teams started growing mustaches, nobody ever grew a handlebar. There was a couple, I think, that have come up, you know, in the past few years, but not too many guys keep them. So, yeah, I was basically the only guy that had a handlebar, and I just did it just to be different from the other guys. That's the only reason.
I love it. Love it. So I do have a question, and a nice segue. Speaking of mustache, it sounds like this is a question for your mustache. What is the funniest thing that ever happened to your mustache?
Funniest thing that ever happened to my mustache? You know, ball players are jokers, and I remember when we used to have the beer top cans, and you pop the tops off. Sure. I fell asleep on an airplane, and the guys started hanging all the pop tops on my mustache. And finally, one woke me up. I had about 7 or 8 of these pop tops. our mustaches hanging there. But that's the only crazy thing that ever happened with my mustache.
That's awesome. Jeff Moore, reach out to me, and I'll take care of you with that pop fly. Thank you. Do you mind if I ask a couple more from the stream here?
No.
Let's see. Is there any hitter that you absolutely hated to face, or your biggest rival?
Oh, I was a lot of guys I hated to face in game situations. Tough guys, probably George Brett. Frank Robinson was a tough out. Harmon Killebrew was a tough out for me. I don't know why. Most of the home run hitters had bigger swings than I could get them out. But those two guys, Frank Robinson and Harmon Killebrew, were tough. And the line drive hitters, Pete Rose, Rod Carew, Wade Boggs, line drive guys with, you make great pitches and they keep fouling them off. Those were tough guys they had to face, especially with guys on base in game situations. You want a home run hitter up at the plate. At least I did. I didn't want those punch and Judy guys because those are the guys that got base hits. So I think Rod Carew, George Brett, and Frank Robinson were probably the toughest three.
All Hall of Famers. That's okay.
Someone in the stream says my next pop fly idea is Rollie in the plane with the beer caps on the mustache. All right. Well, I think that's it for the stream there, Evan.
All right, maybe the last question, Rollie Fingers. There's obviously some tension there with the A's, but yet you've gone in the Hall of Fame as an A. Has all the bridges been healed? You look back fondly on that time?
No, I've never really had any problem with the A's organization. The only person we really all hated was Charlie Finley. And the saddest day in baseball for me was at the end of the season in 1976. Charlie Finley could have signed all of us, and we could all be together, but he didn't want to pay the money. And we had about 9 or 10 guys that just played out our options. I mean, I was only making $67,000 in 1976 after 3 world championships. And I just became a free agent along with Sal Bando and Gene Tennis, Campaneris, Kenny Holtzman. The list goes on. We lost our whole starting lineup to free agency, and wish we could have all stayed together. But the final game in '76 was a sad day for everybody because we knew we weren't going to be playing together anymore. We're all going separate ways. So.
And that's happened quite a few times on the A's, right? They did it again with Giambi and Tejada, and that's the culture of that team.
And when they all became free agents, they didn't want to sign them, and so they were gone.
Wow. Someone buy the A's. Let's go. Hey, thank you, Rollie Fingers, for your time. And I can't emphasize enough how not very many players can say, I changed the philosophy of baseball, and you did that by making the closer one of the most important players on the team. Thank you for sharing this time with us in your career. PopFlyPopShot.com. Get the autograph. You're dumb if you don't. It's a Hall of Fame. Get him to sign it. You'll get mailed to your house. Rollie Fingers, thank you so much for your time.
All right. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it. Had a great time.
Thank you, Rollie. Thank you. Okay, bye.
All right, Daniel. Whew. Another one, huh?
Rollie Fingers. It's his name is Rollie Fingers, and yet that is the least interesting thing about him. Is the name Rollie Fingers. He's got an amazing character.
Yeah, you and I talk. I distinctly remember as a kid. So I'm growing up in the '80s. His career is done, and he was signing at an autograph show, and I'm like, oh, I like this guy with the mustache. He looks cool, and I got him to sign my card. Like something about his persona just resonates with fans.
Yeah, it's wild. I didn't grow up. I was 5 years old when he retired, so it wasn't super. He wasn't of the players that were playing when I was into baseball, but like he just always captured my attention. And still even moving into this project, it's just very fascinating. For, not only a dominant pitcher, but like just an icon of the game. I think your average fan, your average not fan of baseball would not be able to like pick some of the 70s stars out of a lineup, but everyone knows who Rollie Fingers is.
And I know we mentioned it several times, but I don't think we can overstate it. Like, so for instance, there's a baseball philosophy that's kind of almost run its course, I think, the opener, where the Rays started it, where they're like, let's have a bullpen guy start the game. and then put our starting pitcher in the second or the third inning. And it was kind of a gimmick, and it really hasn't landed. Like, I don't think we're going to have famous openers 20 years from now. But Rollie Fingers changed baseball with, let's have one of our most dominant players, hold him back, put him in, and closers then weren't the ninth inning. It's like he said, the seventh, eighth, ninth inning. But let's save that guy for the end of the game. And baseball's never been the same.
Yeah, yeah. It's incredible, you know, and like, you know, we did the Al Hrabowski print a while back, you know, and just researching for that, learning for that. It was just like the you know, the lineage of that like philosophy. You know, you started with Rollie Fingers, and you got like characters like Al Hrabowski, and like you mentioned Kent Jacoby. You know, it's wild. It's wild stuff.
Hey, can you show that print again? So again, popflypopshop.com. You can buy this print. It's only available until Sunday. Get the autograph option. I would highly suggest. Any other little secrets hidden around this cover that you're willing to share that we don't need to find on our own?
See, there's lots of fun little details in the barcode over there. Some of his accomplishments. You know, we've got 74 in there. That was a World Series win there. 74 cents up at the top left. A couple stats hidden in there. 34 cents. 34 was the number he wore most of his career. I think he had a couple different numbers in the very, very beginning, but yeah, 34 is what he's known for, and yeah, that's about it. I'm really glad I got to do it in this way. You know, just very, very stark, very just close cropped. I'm glad that Rollie was on board with this in every way.
That's what I love. Is you're not predictable, Daniel. Like any cover, I'm waiting for somebody flying with wings, or just a face pic, or you know, doing a normal baseball activity, batting or pitching. We never know what we're going to get from you, and I think that's why we love it so much.
Oh, thanks.
Well, we haven't talked to you in a couple of weeks. I know you've had a couple of drop-ins on Instagram and stuff, but one of your other prints was the I believe it was your first like baseball moment. The Fisk Stay Fair. I loved it. And is that something possibly we can get more of in the future, is picking out famous baseball moments, and so it's not just a player but a baseball moment?
Yeah, I think so. You know, we did the George Brett Pine Tar incident, you know, so that's sort of a moment or an incident. Baseball likes to call things incidents. but there's that, and then there's like the World Series moment, and I'd like to kind of turn that into a series within the series. You know, even the name World Series is really hyperbolic. You know, it sounds really grand, even though it really is kind of just North America. You know, it's World Series, so I like the way that sounded. So I want to do like a series within this, with a series within the series. So I'll probably revisit the World Series concept a bit. You know, there's plenty to draw from, and it's a very inspiring time for baseball. I think, you know, the stakes are the highest. You have just a handful of innings to make it or break it, you know, and so it pulls the best and the worst out of teams, you know, and so it's just a really inspiring time just even to think about, and the stories that come from those moments are all, you know, super duper, you know, exciting, and it's just a deep well to draw from that specific like time of baseball.
No, I agree, and I love that. Like Rollie Fingers and Dave Stewart have that in common, where we've noticed, wow, these guys were amazing, and somehow they were able to even elevate that in the World Series. Like, that just blows my mind.
Yeah.
And you're right. There's been a lot of great players that have crashed and burned on that stage, and that's affected their legacy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
yeah, I was going to say, Dave Stewart too came to mind a lot as I was doing this and we were preparing for it. It was just like just one of those guys, Rollie Fingers as well, just, you know, got better under pressure and just was able to handle it. Like, you know, I guess that's his job, you know, under pressure. So it's no surprise that he would perform. But yeah, just Dave Stewart came to mind a lot. He was, you know, A's pitcher that also just killed it under pressure.
Yeah, like I liked Brad Lidge. He was a closer, and you know, he never recovered from blowing those games in the World Series. Like his career literally ended because he never mentally was able to recover. And you never know what you're going to get that first time you're in the World Series. And you get a closer like this who did it 3 years in a row, man.
Yeah.
Sign guy.
That's what I love about baseball too. It's like, you've got your stats and things like that, but man, it's such an unpredictable game. Like anything could happen, and I just love those moments when it's just like the underdog, does this thing, or you're just expecting this, and you just have this total unexpected outcome. Just like fall baseball just draws out those moments. I love it.
Let's talk about fall baseball. Your Braves, I had them buried and done. They lose Acuna for the year. Ozuna has his problems, and it looks like this team's about done. And man, they're in.
I know Albies got hurt the other day.
Yeah,
I was worried about that, but I was absolutely shocked about as soon as Acuna left, I was like, okay, that's it. 2022 maybe.
Right.
But they've pleasantly surprised me, and I love Freddie Freeman. He's one of my favorites of the modern. But just watching him like rise to the occasion, and for the team, I love watching him.
And ask Dodger fans about Jocktober. Jock Peterson shines in October like no one. So I'm ready for a Braves run. Any questions in the chat for you in general, or anything that you want to point out?
Let's see. Let's see. For me, if toss a question in the chat for me if you'd like me to answer one. Someone asked, Daniel, would you ever do a second cover with the same player like Rollie on the Brewers?
It's a great question.
Yeah, absolutely possible. I've done 2 Dale Murphys, although both on the Braves, and I've done 2 Hank Aaron, also both on the Braves. But I've definitely revisited other players before, so not impossible that we could do a Rollie on the Brewers or the Padres next.
I know a lot of fans wanted a Vlad on the Expos. That was brought up.
Yeah, I want, actually, that was my choice. I wanted to do Vlad on the Expos as well, but
nope. Do some variants. I think that's what the fans are asking for, some variants.
Yeah. So, but it was Vlad's choice to be on the Angels. So, it is a collaboration, so we collaborate. Yes.
I have to ask, I know. Any tips on who's next in your brain? What's going on?
Let's see. Who's next? I hesitate. I hesitate on answering this question all the time because so many things could happen along the way. But I am thinking about, like, I'll say this. There's another iconic moment coming up that I'm thinking about. Not a World Series moment, but just an iconic moment that's coming up, the anniversary of it. So I'm thinking about that. Nothing is set in stone, but an anniversary of a special baseball moment is coming up. So that's what's on my mind right now. But again, anything can happen. Maybe we'll get a Rollie on the Padres or the Brewers before we get to it. I don't know, but yeah, there's a lot of things on my mind.
Maybe a Rollie in the Cardinals or the Red Sox. Apparently,
it's a great what if issue.
Again, I've said this, but that's what I love is you take us into the career of these players, and I learned so much that I didn't know beforehand. So I love you're in a rhythm, you're in a sweet spot. Thank you for taking us on these journeys every week.
Sure, thanks. And there's actually a question I'll ask you as well, Evan. The question in the stream. Anderson Merrill asks, like, do you have a favorite decade of baseball? For me, I'll answer this, and Evan, you answer it too. But I think you love the era in which you were a child. There's something very special to me about the 80s baseball. That's when I discovered this beautiful game, and so nothing beats that time period for me. Just such interesting characters, but also in this digging into this project, I've come to love the 1970s. And the 1970s I'm not a Pirates guy, but man, do I love the 1970s Pirates, like the We Are Family era. I've just come to love that team, and like I feel like doing a pot fly of every single person on that team because I love them so much. We've already done Parker, Tekulve, Clemente, Stargell. So I did in 4 already from the 70s Pirates, and I hope to do more. But yeah, just the personalities of that era, just kind of the looks were so iconic and out there, and it's sort of like an anything goes type attitude. You've got, speaking of Charles Finley, he's experimenting with yellow jerseys and yellow baseballs and wearing white shoes, like mustaches, things we haven't seen for almost 4 decades. It's just like this explosion of just character and novelty at that time. So I've really come to appreciate that time period in baseball as I dig in. What about you? What's your favorite decade?
I think I do like the 80s. I missed like the out of shape, just overweight guys, like the guys that they don't look like athletes at all, but they're out there. I miss some of the small ball. Like for me, the strikeout home run only today I don't think it's great for the game. I have a bittersweet relationship with like the home run era, because we look back on it and realize it wasn't legit. But man, that summer, the Sosa, McGuire, Griffey summer, baseball took over the world. So I still have a romantic feeling about that. But everyone send in yours. What's your favorite era of baseball?
Yeah, let us know. So as you type in the question, you talk about the out of shape ball players. Like there's Bob Horner on the Braves, and just like icon of the Braves, but he just looked like a dude. He looked like he was just a dude that be working at a Tractor Supply warehouse, and yet somehow you can manage to hit 4 home runs in 1 ball game. It's wild. Yeah, someone just mentioned Horner and Glenn Hubbard as well. Sorry, I'm speaking Braves right now, 80s Braves, but Glenn Hubbard as well.
Like Prince Fielder, Mo Vaughn, just these guys that look like they're athletes and they're just dominant at their position. Yeah,
totally. And like Cecil Fielder as well. I like Cecil as a kid. Cecil Fielder like absolutely captivated me. He just this huge mountain of a man, and just like kind of came out of nowhere. He's kind of just like an obscure guy that season. I don't remember what year it was, 90 or 91. He's like, he hits 51 home runs in a season, and he looks absolutely like no one that you would expect. You've got your Jose Cansecos out there and your Mark McGuire, but then there's like Cecil Fielder that's like outperforming them all. It's baseball's an interesting and amazing.
Absolutely. Great question.
Some people here says 70s too for me as well. Robert Cannongeiser is a fan of the 70s.
Yeah, I like the hit and run, the stolen base, no one can bunt anymore. I don't like that, but
yeah, it's funny, as a kid, I just loved the power hitters. Like if you send a ball over that fence, like dude, I'm into you, and I totally just pitchers were not on my radar at all. And so now, as an adult watching the game, like if home runs are interesting for a moment, but like with the small ball, like the line drives and bunting and stuff like that's an effect that kind of changes the game for some time. You get single, double, like bunt, so it's like this little, it is what it's called, small ball, and its effect on the game. It's for a longer duration, those little small acts, and it's just much more interesting, that kind of stuff.
It drives me crazy, the extra inning rule. So like you one run and you win, and you have a guy on second to start the inning, and like you can't bunt him over and hit a sac fly. You just strike out. It drives me crazy. Yeah,
I totally agree. We got a couple other like folks here commenting. Jody loves the Braves. I'm right there with you.
Speaking to his heart right now.
Yeah. And then we got 80s and 90s had some greats. Watching the Rockies franchise come up, seeing bombs dropped in Coors. I will say that the Blake Street Bombers are on my radar. Speaking of the Rockies, I know that they've not gotten any love.
That team, man, Dante Bichette, Carlos Gonzalez, Ellis Burks, they've had some power hitters there.
You didn't mention Dale Murphy in that.
You know, they're a weird team right now. You look, their home record is amazing. Like their home record, they look like a playoff team, and their away record, they're the worst team in baseball.
Really? I didn't know that.
They've got to figure that out somehow. To me, Rockies need to get great strikeout sinker ball pitchers, and you know, don't give up home runs in that stadium. And they're on their way, but they got some decisions to make. They let Arenado go. Story's about to go. We'll see what the Rockies do.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, my eyes are on the Rockies. It's my son's favorite team, so we end up watching the Rockies here.
Wonderful. Any other questions you want to get to?
Let's see. Someone like the 70s, fake grass and big hair.
Big hair, absolutely.
Oscar Gamble there. Looks like that's about it. There's people taking a guess on what it's going to be. Someone's guessing the Pirates just had an anniversary of a significant event. Maybe that's your next one. I do love the Pirates. Just a couple days ago, Pirates had the 50th anniversary of the all black and Latino lineup.
Wow.
Ever in Major League Baseball. So that was it was actually it's been on my mind as well, that event. So, but yeah, they just had the anniversary. I think there's only 4 or 5 left of that original team that was in that 1971 lineup.
Wow. Yeah, I love that team. That's another badly run team right now. Supplying every other team with great players, the Pirates.
Yeah.
Well, okay, is there any more questions? Or
sure. Someone's asking would I do a mascot cover? I don't know.
What they're really, there's only 2, right?
The Chicken and the Fanatic?
You got the Fanatic. Nobody like under 30 knows who the Chicken is. I've learned this. The San Diego Chicken.
Really? You don't know? Is anyone here under 30 and anyone not know who the Chicken is? I don't. Yeah, let me know if you do have no idea the Chicken and the San Diego connection.
Yeah, I mean, you got the Fanatic, and then Mr. Met maybe, but no one knows the Chicken anymore. They've let that thing kind of go.
Yeah, you know, there's a movie about the Fanatic.
No.
Yeah, there's a Fanatic movie. I've not seen it, but I know it exists.
Nice. Let's show that cover one more time.
Got it.
Good questions today, by the way, everybody. Popflypopshop.com. This is only available until Sunday. After Sunday, it's retired forever. You're forced to pay eBay and secondhand prices. Make sure you see that drop-down menu to get the autograph option if you want it. Daniel, thank you for another masterpiece. Thank you for your time today. Thank you, everyone, for hanging out with us.
Thank you, everyone, and thank you, Evan. I appreciate it.
We will see everyone again soon.
All right, bye, all.